Hola. From the west side. It's me, DC and the Purple Diva. And welcome to Not So Random Chat. Wednesday night, whatever. It is the middle of the week. And you know, I think I'm going to talk about a little bit about the YouTube. It appears we have someone on YouTube who was arrested. It appears that Nature Boy and company may be under arrest. Wow. Well, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of other people's opinion, that was kind of like a cult situation going on down there. I think they were in Costa Rica, and then I think this was in Panama, because I don't think they were in Costa Rica anymore. But yeah, so carbonation may be over, so to speak. Or at least, you know, some stuff is going on. And then it appears that, you know, they were all taken into custody, including the babies. So we got some stuff going on, you know. And I don't even think that they were legally in the property that they were in. I think they were squatting in that property. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know, so now we've got babies that, you know, for all intents and purposes, these are U.S. citizens, but they're in another country, and the parents and these other people in the carbonation are apparently now in custody. That's wild. And I don't know all the details, guys, because, you know, I'm seeing it, and I think everybody's kind of grabbing hold to it because there's other stuff going on. But this is kind of, you know, wow, because this is, you know, a content creator, so to speak. In the Black sector that is in custody in another country. You know, hey, Silent Army, how are you? Happy Wednesday night, or it may be Thursday morning already for you. Yeah, I'm just talking about the YouTubers that have apparently been taken into custody in another country. Carbonation, Nature Boy. I'm glad you're doing okay. Yeah, it's a wild situation with these with these babies, because they said that they were minors, but I mean, the only thing I ever saw on their channel was like babies, you know, kids under the age of 3. This is insane with what they're doing over there. I mean, we were all looking at it, and it all appeared to be some type, a ticking time bomb. Things were going crazy. People were coming and going, running away from it, going away. They had a major split, all kinds of stuff that was going on within that carbonation community. And now you got some of these. Now you have, I forget how many people. I think they said it was like 17 people that are in custody in Panama. So that's really a crazy situation. I've been watching some of the other channels because, obviously with them being in custody, we won't be seeing any more videos. But apparently they had like drones watching where they were. And as I said, I don't think that they legally were renting the property. I think that they may have been squatting at the property. And that's just kind of crazy. You're in a whole nother country and you don't really know what the rules are in that country to be doing stupid stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And they have babies involved in this. So, at the very least, they're going to probably be charged with, dealing with the welfare of minors because they had these babies out there in this craziness with them. But I don't know. I mean, these are younger people, I believe. Some of them are older, but like I believe a lot of the young ladies that were involved were in their 20s. So we're talking about millennials, and they fallen behind this guy and then gone over, to, I believe now it's 2 countries with these belief systems that they have, that keeps changing, because at one point, all the women, I guess, were with him, the leader. Now they've apparently divvied out all the women. So now everybody has, most of the other men have a wife. I don't know if these were legal ceremonies, by the way, but I guess ceremonies within their nation. But yeah, that was just really crazy to me. And then with AGT, it appears that NBC is going to be taking a much closer look at that situation with Gabrielle Union being fired from AGT, because last night they had a 5-hour conversation with Gabrielle Union. So I guess there is more to come in regards to she and Julianne Hough being let go after year one of after one season of a 3-year contract with AGT. But apparently the issues were that Gabrielle spoke out about the treatment of females, and then, things happening that could be viewed as offensive to people who are minorities that were going on the show. So I guess that made her difficult because she said something, but now NBC is going to be taking a closer look into it to see what else is going on. Hey guys who are up in the clouds, you can come down, It's okay to come into the room. But I knew that more was going to go on with that, because firing those two young ladies after one season, when you claimed that you let go of Heidi and of Mel B because you wanted to bring in a younger demographic, so then you bring in people who will bring a younger demographic. They actually push the ratings up and, you know, draw more people in by using social media, because Gabrielle was really good about promoting the show and everything on social media. And then you pretty much let them go without cause. Doesn't sound really, it sounds suspicious to me. And with all of the things that have happened with NBC in the last few years, especially with that Matt Lauer situation, they got it. They've got to dig into this more. There's no way they can just let it just go. But that's the good news. And then, of course, we have the ever-looming impeachment that looks like it's gonna, looks like if the Democrats have their way, it's gonna happen. So they apparently have asked all of the Democratic congressmen, I guess, or senators, whoever, that need to be available to deal with impeachment proceedings to stay in town just in case. And I'm like, dang, weren't they just on vacation last week? Side note, people just had vacation last week, and y'all are getting ready to go on another break so quickly. It's like, do they ever work in our government? Because I swear it's like they're always on break. They're always on break. I mean, they work for 2 months, then they're going to break? 2 months, then a break? Is that the way it works? And of course, Mr. Trump left the NATO proceedings early today, so he could get back here for his own drama here in the United States. And it appears that some of the leaders in other countries were laughing and kind of joking about how he was acting at the actual NATO, because, he was pretty much doing what he normally does and saying that other countries need to put more money in, everything shouldn't be on the U.S., yada, yada, yada. And not that I'm saying that he's wrong in that, because it probably shouldn't all be on the United States, who is, for all intents and purposes, the baby of the bunch with all these other countries, and it's quite ironic that a country that basically came out of European colonization is who everyone seems to be dependent on. Of course, we're probably the only colonies, so to speak, that came out of European colonization that is completely free. Because as we all know, everywhere else that there's been colonization, most of those countries are not really free. Especially on the continent of Africa. They appear to be free, but how are you free when you don't even have your own currency? And I don't know, your national language is French and not a language that actually came out of that land, but you know what I mean. I'm just saying. I'm just speaking, my thoughts about it. So, it's just really ironic that everybody depends on this country. And, I'm not really a fan of this president by any means, but I do see his point about not having everything be the U.S. taking care of everybody else. I kind of get that. I get that part. I can see his point on that. Hey, Matt. Yeah, I'm just talking about whatever. Right now, I'm talking about some points about this president. But earlier, Matt, I was talking about, did you hear about Nature Boy? Oh, yeah, I heard about Kamala. Yeah, Kamala, she dropped out yesterday. But I think what a lot of other people think about her is that she's trying to position herself so that perhaps she might be a vice presidential candidate for somebody. I think that's what she's going to do. But did you hear about carbonation, Matt? About apparently they all got arrested over in Panama, including the babies. Everybody's been taken into custody. Carbonation, Nature Boy. The one who parades around YouTube on his videos with no shirt on. Hey, Terry. Did you hear about carbonation, Terry? Apparently, they've been taken into custody. Yep. Well, it must have just recently happened, because nothing was on YouTube about this earlier today. But then this evening, it's starting to pop up. And people are talking about it. So it must have just happened today. Yep. Carbonation. Nature Boy. And I don't even, so apparently they had drones or something going over these guys. And I don't think that they were, I think they were squatting in that property that they were in. Because apparently somebody called the realtor for the property, another YouTuber who busted where they were apparently. And the realtor said that the property's vacant, which means if the property's vacant, they're squatting. So they're squatting in that property that they keep, popping up on videos all over, YouTube. And they have the babies too. So now we got these babies in custody along with y'all. What's going to happen to the babies? But people are, some of the stuff that's being inferred that I don't know, but maybe Nature Boy might have a potential criminal history, but never actually any charges that stuck. So, and your butt is over in another country. And here's the thing: if they're squatting over there at this place, I think it was in Panama, because someone was saying they got kicked out of Costa Rica. I'm just wondering, how do you get kicked out of Costa Rica? What were you doing that they put you out? So apparently they were now in Panama, and this happened in Panama. But if they were squatting, I mean, does everybody have a passport that's down there? You know what I mean? Including the babies? Everybody got a passport that proves they're U.S. citizens? Well, that's my point. But I heard that earlier. I heard that before this even happened. Somebody else had said that on their when they were talking about Nature Boy in some other video. Somebody else said that they believed that they were squatted. And that was like at least a week or two ago that I heard that. So they just stupid. I'm like, you all over YouTube, but then you're squatting, and you don't know squatting's illegal, and you don't know what the rules are about squatting in another country. Like, dude, what is on your mind? And now you have your babies involved in this madness. Because you know they don't have the babies with them. So where are the babies? Where are the babies? Hey, Darren. Well, they were always asking for money, Terry. Darren, I'm talking about Nature Boy. Apparently they got arrested. Apparently they got arrested. And the babies, but the babies are there. That's my issue. Grown folk can take care of grown folk. But they got babies involved in this cult, in my opinion. You know he was on some you-know-what stuff, Terry. They wasn't doing it, not the way we know of, how the hippies had their communes and stuff. I don't think this was that. I don't really even know what they was doing, because they weren't living by any of those. But I think it was just like a little cult. Yeah. Yep. That's the ones. That is the ones, Terry. That would be them. That would be them. Hey, AB. Yeah, I mean, but like I said, it just apparently must have happened sometime today, because this wasn't even on YouTube this morning. There was other nonsense going on this morning. There was other nonsense going on this morning. Now we got these fools who done gone and got themselves apparently arrested. in Panama with minor children. That is just some wild stuff. Seriously. That's why I went back to the trap music for tonight. Because I was like, oh, there's some trap music type of stuff going on YouTube. I know. I mean, child, they got a little bit of truth and then a whole bunch of made up stuff, you know? And I think they was like having like a, you know, they've been swapping the women around. It's just like, it's like his own little YouTube reality show with everything that's going on down there, you know? Cause that's really how the stuff looks. Like it's a YouTube reality show, only it's not scripted. You know? They should be ashamed of themselves, but you know, but remember, supposedly he was changing, you know, right before this happened. Remember, now you remember they had, apparently they had, all the girls weren't with him anymore. He's only with the one girl, and he's not doing pornography, you know, not watching pornography anymore. And, you know, and so he apparently was changing, you know. But play some Tupac. Play some Tupac. Nah, that dude. Dude's craziness don't need no Tupac behind it. Trap music is all he deserves, and nameless trap at that. Nameless trap at that. He wanted to be something. He wanted to be something, Terry. You know. I mean, I've been, you know, kind of letting these dudes, you know, really slide because they're young, you know. But everybody over there ain't young. The young ladies are most definitely young. You know, but some of those guys are a little older and should know better and shouldn't be so weak-willed. You know. It's crazy like that. I mean, they're doing stuff like that other religious cult that's all over YouTube, or been all over YouTube. Tony, whatever his crazy, I can't remember his last name, you know, that would put people out, make them people bring all their money and everything. And all they was doing stuff for them. They told them when they could have sex with their wives, all kinds of crazy nonsense with him. This is similar to that, only this dude then took it to another level about being in tune with nature or whatever. Having everybody dressed up African, and I put that in quotation marks, you know, and being natural and everything, and being vegan and all that stuff, as though everyone in Africa is vegan. Okay. So, and then trying to spit out his own type of religious ideology. Yeah, that part. Oh, man. I'm glad you're okay, Tatted Heart. I am glad that you're okay. I'm gonna drop the link down in the chat in case anybody wants to come up. Terry, if you want to come up, or anybody else. Give me 1 second, guys. Because I'm sure this all has to do a lot with people's identity. These guys are so confused. I don't know how long they thought they was gonna do that craziness, Terry. Okay, I just put the link down in the chat. If anybody wants to come up. So whatever Wednesday, we talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. Hey, T Million. Just was talking about everyone's not so favorite YouTuber, Nature Boy, and Carbonation. And apparently they're all arrested. Yep, apparently they're all arrested. You see? Hopefully this crap won't get get YouTube in any further trouble, because again, we have minors involved in this stuff, and this has been being posted all over YouTube. So we'll see how that works, because I'm sure they're gonna find some COPA violations with that, with all this madness, especially with them having the kids, and now the kids are in custody with them. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second, Terry. Let me let you up. All right, there you go.
All right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I was running my mouth.
No, it's okay. It's okay, sis. No,
yeah, but I'm sure this is going to hit COPA because of the kids in there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's definitely a concern. Young kids like that, the babies, man. That's pretty irresponsible, though. Squatting on someone else's land with those kids. I mean, yeah, worst case scenario happened. That's.
Well, I mean, and I'm just thinking that they had to be squatting because if the other YouTuber went and called the realtor, because somebody apparently got the number and called the realtor to the property.
Somebody dropped a dime.
And the realtor told them the property was vacant. I mean, what do they think? Do they think law enforcement doesn't watch YouTube?
Right. In Panama.
And apparently they had drones watching them.
That's funny. They went all the way down. Yeah. Now, where are they from in the United States? Are they from somewhere, like in the South or something?
I have no idea where they're from. I don't think that they're from. Well, I don't know. I hope they're not from California, but they could be.
I mean, the reason why I hope not. That'd be bad for us, huh?
Oh, it would be
the reason why.
Go ahead.
Oh, the reason why I even asked, because you would think for wherever they're from, the cost of those tickets, man, would probably collectively provide a down payment on something. You know what I mean? I mean, if they flew there, I mean, in terms of their travel.
Right. I mean, well, I know they do like the Cash App and whatever, that kind of stuff on their channel, apparently. Always telling people to support them. So they've been getting money. Somebody's supporting their craziness, to me.
Right.
Craziness, because, and then somebody was saying, I was in somebody else's chat. Whose chat was I in? DIYFC. Yeah. I was in his chat. Somebody said that they had the children nursing from somebody who was not their mother.
Oh man, that's crazy.
They had somebody acting as a wet nurse for somebody else's child. Stop it. That is,
Oh man,
I mean,
that's ridiculous.
that's nasty as hell. Oh my God, I can't even believe it.
Absolutely. See, all of them need to be lined up. You know how the Three Stooges and Mo would slap Curly and Larry? They line the dudes up and slap them all just like that in the line. Just put them on line. Just pop, 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 pop. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Golly, man. It's like they leave the door open for the worst case scenario to happen. You know, and I mean, I look at very little of it. You know, Soul Alchemy, and she's covering that. She's streaming some of it.
That's what I said. I had seen some, and I've seen some of it, but I'm not sure if it was her channel that the squatting thing was mentioned, because there's a bunch of people that have been covering their foolishness. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, Angel, another sister from Sacramento. She's actually from Sacramento. This other sister, the light-skinned sister.
I watch her too. Yes. That's what I'm saying. I don't know whose channel it was, because I've watched so many different, you know, because everybody has a different. Because I'm not going to go and watch his actual stuff, but I will definitely come and watch clips, because you know, you need to know what's going on with, especially now. This is going to have an impact on content creators. You know it is.
Yeah,
and it's not going to be.
By the way,
it's not going to be a positive impact.
Right. No, not at all.
And this stuff happens. This happens right before that December 10th deadline. Now, who thinks YouTube didn't know that they were going to get arrested? Who thinks YouTube don't know nothing about it? You know, and then that might be their only way. That might be their saving grace. But I'm sorry, they've had the kids on there for months. They've been showing kids on there for months. And granted, their channel is definitely not geared towards children, but you got babies on there, all over there. I'm sorry, something wrong.
Right.
Then for someone to know that someone other than a child's mother was nursing it means you showed that. Means you showed that happen on your channel. Oh, I just can't even with that. It's so gross.
Yeah. Nah, he's not. Old Nature Boy's not very smart, is he? He's supposed to be there. Who is supposed to be like their leader, their spiritual leader, or something? Is that what that is?
Well, he was, but then when that girl came back, she made him change all his stuff. Then it looked like she was the one who was the one in charge or whatnot. So I don't know. Who knows who's in charge? But everybody that's following them is weak-minded.
Yeah. You can see that. I only saw a few clips of it, and it seems like, I mean, first of all, you know, the guys, they're all little, you know, they're all skinny. And I don't even, do they even eat? It seems like they don't have a lot of food.
Well, supposedly they're vegan, and they be eating like lentils and, you know, bird food.
Yeah, I'd be sneaking so much steak and rice somewhere. Man, no way I live like that. That's crazy.
Yep. Matt said that the feds are on social media. Absolutely, they're on social media. They sure are on social media. So if you're doing something crazy, why broadcast it? You know, maybe because you think because you're in another country that doesn't affect you, but you're broadcasting into the United States, idiot.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. Yeah, it's definitely something to laugh at on one hand. You know what I mean? I haven't sat down and watched the whole thing, but I watched a little bit here and there. You know, because
I watched
I
enough
really
for
don't
me
like.
to laugh. I watched enough of it for me to laugh at them and for me to be sad for those babies.
Yeah,
The babies is the only ones I'm concerned about. Is the children, because I don't think the babies are, those children are like under 3. We're talking about young children who probably don't even talk. They can't even talk for themselves.
well, it looks like they're all infants, aren't they? It seems like the ones I've seen. See, I really don't like that anyway. I don't go for that kind of thing. I think it's I think it's something evil about it to me. You know, just I could be wrong, but it's just I don't know. It seems like unnatural. I guess that's a better word. You know what I
Well,
mean? There's something wrong.
the whole way that whole situation that they have those children in, I don't think that it was necessarily a sanitary situation. Because remember, they had the girls not wearing, everybody natural body odors, no deodorant. It was
Right.
Funky Town. Funky Town.
That's funny.
I can't.
That's funny, sis. That's funny.
And
Real
apparently they were natural, like natural everywhere. Ooh, that part. You know, so everybody's hairy. That's gross. That's gross. But yeah, my
Well, I mean, do any of the guys own a shirt?
you would think that they don't.
Right. I mean, come on, man. You're walking around. I mean, if you're gonna do that, at least be buffed.
Nobody
does. No, like, come on, man.
Not even.
That's the only thing I laugh at.
They not even toned. I mean, you can see the flab. Stop it, dude.
I mean, come on.
Ain't nothing,
man.
ain't nothing worse than a dude that you can see is a slim dude. And how you got a gut out there in the middle of nowhere where y'all barely eating? How you got a gut?
Funny. Good question though. See, we can just pick this thing apart on all levels.
Well, this also has to do with the identity crisis with black Americans in knowing who we are.
Absolutely, yes.
I'm like, oh. So these dudes, instead of going to Africa, they go and make their own little tribe in some other country.
Right. Yeah, that's not strange enough. I mean, who this guy supposed to be? Like Jim Jones Jr.? I mean, what's his
thing? What's his angle? That's what appears to everybody else, because I mean, I think this is like a way of life and a religious ideology for them, apparently. You know? Because they're swapping around people, and this person is now with this person, and that's her husband. Okay, so is anybody legally married?
Right.
Is my question. Or are they just spiritually married?
Nah, I just think all jokes aside, for me, I could just give you a quick rundown based on my limited cursory view of this. I just think the dude, I think it's a way for him to have multiple women. I think it's like an orgy thing going on. It's just a glorified way of doing it. And I think that, obviously we see how weak-minded psychologically these people are. To follow somebody like him, man, he can't even purchase land for them to have to do this nonsense in private, in terms of their own.
Did you see what,
you know what I mean?
T Million, hey uppity. Hey, we're talking about Nature Boy. Apparently they got arrested in Panama. And did you see what T Million wrote down in the chat? He said he was a gay porn star too.
Oh, okay. That might explain some of it. Okay. See? Yeah, I know I was getting close to it. Right. That's
Oh my
crazy.
goodness.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah, he was sleeping with all of the women until like about a week ago or so. Then apparently, then he gave all the women out to everybody and kept one for himself.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, it's pure madness going on. But now they're apparently in custody, and it apparently happened sometime. Well, it hit YouTube late today. That's what I'll say because it probably happened early today, but we just didn't know about it until late today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a bunch of nonsense, though, really, as far as I'm concerned.
My issue is that they have children involved. They got children involved in
Yes.
this crazy
Yeah, absolutely.
babies, and it does appear to
Absolutely.
be. To me, it feels like it's a religious cult.
Wow.
Well, I'm reading what Uppity saying. Yeah, yeah. Well, we all try to stay away from it, but when they get arrested, and everybody, we're all now everybody's talking about them. Now we're all talking about him again, but we're not talking about him because we want to talk about him. We're talking about him because we're concerned about those kids. Crazy man.
Yeah, dude was a gay porn star, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
That's not. I guess that explains much, doesn't it?
Yeah, that would definitely to me would explain why he felt the need to have so many women, maybe to prove his manhood.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's like, people like allegedly Eddie Murphy having all these babies to, why he has all these kids, but you know,
Good point. He does have, what is that, like 10 kids?
10
Eddie
kids
Murphy?
right now.
Something like that?
And then we have the now Caitlyn Jenner, formerly Bruce Jenner. How many kids did she have when she was a him? I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Very weird. Yeah. Man, that's weird right there. That's a very, very weird uh situation.
Hey
Uh,
Rachel.
the guy's a man, but he wants to look like a woman, huh? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's wow. What have we gotten to in this society? Something else.
Young
Wow.
Pharaoh. Young Pharaoh's an interesting one too. Young Pharaoh's interesting
Yeah.
too, but
Yeah. He is.
at least he only has one woman, and
Yeah.
he's not really in that stuff. But I mean, he's also a millennial who has his own views about a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, he does. I've listened to a few of his
Mm-hmm.
videos. I used to look at Sarah Sutton-Seti, the guy he tends to collaborate with a lot.
Yeah.
I used to look at him in the early going of YouTube. I used to look at his videos. So they started to collab, and I've listened to a few things. They had a good series going on. They did really a series on a lot of these political ideologies in the United States. Some of the philosophies and also some of the religious uh,
Mm-hmm.
organizations. It's very, very interesting, but funny because they get into the point. On one hand, they will give a good analysis of it, but then
Mm-hmm.
the second thing they'll start talking about people, and it's kind of funny how they kind of break
I know
down how they.
they get crazy with this stuff on there. It's like you have to eat the watermelon and spit out the seeds with them.
Right. So it's gonna be funny somewhere. They're gonna start cracking jokes in a sense on whoever they're speaking of. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, he has some interesting viewpoints. I must say that is very, yeah, young Pharaoh. Yeah,
Yeah.
I still take a look at some of his stuff every once in a while. You know, like I said, you know, I'll eat the watermelon, but I know to spit out some of the seeds. Same thing with what's that guy's name? Boyce Watkins.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like I'll listen to. I can take some of what you say, but then you start getting cocky, and I got to stop listening to you again because I don't want to. I mean, dude, you don't need to tell us about you being, you know, the only, one with your PhD when you got your PhD. We don't need to hear about you having a PhD. You know,
Almost every time he gets on camera,
I
he says
happen to
that.
know. I happen to know a bunch of people with PhDs, and they're all women of color.
Yeah.
I don't need to hear about him and
Yeah.
his PhD. Don't nobody care about that.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah, I have friends who's an MD, some PhDs, JD. Like, he tends to remind you
Yeah,
every
he spends
video
so
he's
much,
on
and I'm
there.
like, dude, I can count. I know at least 10 people who have a PhD. I know at least 10 black people who have PhDs. Besides,
Yeah.
okay, now they may not have it in the same, field as he does, but they got a PhD. So I
Yeah.
don't hear
Yeah.
about.
I don't.
And
Yeah,
he's
I don't know why he
the
has to.
reparations. He's on that on the reparations bandwagon, and you know, yeah, he's
But they
got,
don't want him there though.
huh?
The Yvette Carnell don't want him there
Oh
though.
no, they don't want him on the
She
bandwagon, but he's trying to be on it anyway. He tries to insert himself everywhere. What do you mean? That's
right.
how Boyce is.
Well, they told him to stay over there. It was funny. They made a video. No, you need to stay over there. It was hilarious.
Yeah. See, Baba Rassin. No, I don't watch.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that Baba Rassin. I know who that is, but I haven't watched him. Uppity says she used to watch him. Yeah, but yeah, because I think Boyce is on right now. What was he? And he was on, and then he other station. They're on about Tariq Nasir.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're talking about
Something
that
like that.
situation, and but that's what I would expect from the Giro. That's what I would expect. So I don't know why anybody's surprised. It's like, why are you surprised? It's like, but they do need to watch it because, it's going to come off like you don't want anything but a mainstream view to be seen. That's what it's going to come off as, is that anything that's not a conforming view, you're not going to publish. You're not going to support. When you're supposed to be the media, which means you're supposed to be unbiased, and you're supposed to let everybody have a say. That's what I thought.
Right. I guess theoretically, I guess so. But they tend to take their liberties.
Yeah. I don't even know how that situation. I mean, he's got a huge audience over there though watching. He's got them on 2 channels. I'm like, he's got all these people,
Yeah.
and they're just following behind everything that he's saying.
Yes. It's incredible, isn't it?
But do you notice he's always trying to tell people to join his the part that you have to pay for, his money university or whatever the heck that thing is.
Yeah, the Black Business School.
Yeah, he wants everybody to join it. And I have no problem with financial literacy. I think we all need to have it. But there are other people out there that'll give it to you who are also Black, but they'll do it for free.
Absolutely.
So, That's my
Absolutely.
issue. But he thinks because of his PhD that he knows more than everybody else. Of course.
I think he has a PhD in finance. I get apparently what he has said is that I guess when he received his PhD, he was the only one in the country at that the year he received it that had the PhD. He was one of the very few at the time, I guess,
Yeah,
whenever that
and I'm
was.
sure in finance, but he ain't the only black person with a PhD.
Oh no,
Dropping.
I have a I have a book here. I have a book here called Blacks in Science, and it was written by um, historian called Ivan Van Sertima. I don't know if anyone's heard of that gentleman. He's
Mhm.
deceased now, and in this book, I mean, he'll give you some biographical sketches of PhDs going all the way back to the 19th century.
Exactly.
Black
Hey,
people
Dollar
and women too.
Tree.
A lot of women in this book, so it's filled with that.
Hey, Dollar Tree.
Mathematics, engineering, you know what I mean? Chemistry. Oh man, I get
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
hilarious. So yeah.
but he's got his little audience, and then let me think. Oh, and then you got Fly Nubian Queens that basically a lot of stuff that's on there. They're just, most of them are just following behind him because I'm sure I think that's a spinoff from him.
Yes, I believe it is. Yes, he has
You
a lot to
know.
do with that. Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah. Vicky Dillard and a few other
Oh yeah,
sisters.
Vicky Dillard. I
Uh, uh,
listen to some of her stuff, but it's like she's changed her views from prior to her being on there. So I always look at her sideways about some stuff. It's like, are you a Christian? Are you where are you? Which way are you these days? Because she
right.
gets on there and she says, I'm Assalamu alaikum. She says everything peace be with you, blah blah. She goes through all of that. It's,
Right.
girl, trying to cover
Yeah. She'll
everybody.
say it all. She'll say it all. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not subscribed. I have appeared in some chats over there, but not lately. Not in the last several
No,
weeks.
I haven't been over there in a minute, but I'm still subscribed. I just haven't been interested in what she's been saying, so
Right.
I haven't been listening.
All right.
I think the last time I listened was when she was talking about Jay-Z. So that was a few months ago.
Yeah. That's man.
That's what I'm saying. That's the last time I listened. I listened to what she had to say, and I listened to what Boyce had to say. I wanted to hear what they had to say over there. And then I already had my own opinion, but I said, let me go see what these folks have to say.
Well, I think the most important videos that he's done is when he's had Dr. Claude Anderson
I
on
like
them.
those videos. I subscribe to
Yeah,
Dr.
those
Claude, to
right.
him.
Now, I mean, it definitely is like he has a wealth of information that's worth listening to.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Now that was a good thing when he did that. I just subscribed to Dr. Claude. Now I go listen to his stuff because I don't need to listen to him on his channel. I can go listen to him on his own channel. But yeah, I'll go and listen if he has him on. But other than that, I'm because he wants to be this educated black man, but then you still are cursing every other minute and then saying it, well, if it offends you, then F you, blah blah blah, and then keeps going on with his arrogant behind.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen him switch. I've seen him hit the switch a few times.
Exactly. You're gonna switch between being a and being come on, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I've seen him sound intellectual, erudite, and then all of a sudden he started giving a finger.
Hey,
Saying F this, F that.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. That's when in fact I think it was last year when I guess it came out that some Asian was backing him, or it was perceived anyway that some Asian was backing his operation, and because the Asian guy himself, I guess he slipped up, and who was on another video of his own, he was talking to a third party, and he had mentioned Dr. Boyce Watkins as if Watkins was up under him. I can't remember the guy's name, but then and that was a big thing. And Watkins came back and did a follow-up video to try to, I don't know if it was damage control or what it was, but he started very, very intellectual. And he started throwing up the finger at people. It was kind of hilarious. I had to laugh. I'm like, what? I mean, I mean, he just hit the switch maybe like 10 minutes in. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
I see Matt's talking about Michi X. Yeah, I subscribe to Michi. Michi be, man, she be on. She can't stand them, and she used to be one, but she can't stand them now.
Yeah, she's fire. Yeah.
She goes in on everybody. And I think she's a PK. Yeah. And she'll tell you, yes, I grew up in this, but I don't believe that BS, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes on into what she got to say. She is a trip.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to also say hi to Up the Unicorn. I didn't get to do that. I want to say hi to her.
Yeah.
In chat. How you doing, sis?
Hey, sad kid. Yeah, but that Nature Boy thing, that's gonna be an interesting. That whole I mean, to me, that pretty much is going to be another nail in the coffin of carbonation.
Agreed.
I'm like,
yeah. You know, you got some protocols and kind of prevent some things like this from happening. If you're gonna, I guess. Now, I have never ran a commune, but I would think, you would think logic kind of tells you, look, there's certain things that just can't happen, and you have to have some protocols to prevent them. And I mean, when I didn't even know they were squatting. Well, that right there, man, it just delegitimizes whatever they're trying to do. I mean, what you trying to get these people locked up, man? I mean, come on, man. You can't buy some land.
That I started looking around, like, do I see any electricity on? Are they? I don't. And it comes think of. I said, well, it's like. I said, well, they must have electricity coming from somewhere, because how could they be, filming and stuff? So,
right.
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they brought their own little generators.
Man, it's like makeshift commune. Wow. I thought you come equipped with everything you need if you're gonna do that kind of thing. I would imagine, so you wouldn't be struggling.
Hey, Mella. I'm just looking down in the chat. Mella came in.
Yeah. But far be it from me, I would never do it. So.
I mean, well, up until now, until this stuff happened, I just kind of put off everything that they were doing as, millennial antics and everything.
Millennial antics, that's funny.
I did, because,
right.
But it has now gotten very serious, because now law enforcement is involved in this stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've all been looking at it on YouTube, wondering, like, what is going on? Why isn't somebody doing something about what's going on with these people?
Right. That's what I thought too. I mean,
but obviously apparently knew where they were. But I guess now we do. For sure where they were, and he kept saying where he was.
Wow.
Yeah, I know you are. Uppity unicorn. My son is one too. I mean, you guys are in the same age range. No offense, but you're not out there doing crazy stuff like this fool was.
Thank you, Uppity Unicorn. I read what she said about my voice. Thank you.
I thought you said you have a nice voice. I wanted to see it yourself.
Thank you. I'm getting a cold though, so it's starting to starting to change a little bit because of that. My sinuses are running. But
Yeah,
thank you.
they're just.
Yeah. See.
But I'm sure we will hear more about what's going on with them, and we'll have to be looking for it on YouTube because I doubt it'll be on any news.
Right. No, probably not.
If
Unless
it,
someone gets hurt,
yeah, if it hits, it. But I can't even say that because YouTube stuff has hit regular news before, like when that girl was apparently they thought she was abusing her dog. It was
Oh,
some,
see, I didn't. I haven't heard that myself. I really
that one happened. That
don't know
happened
about that.
like over the summer. She was a bigger It was a bigger YouTuber. And I
Right.
think that's the only reason it hit. Yeah, carbonation, they not that big, so it ain't gonna hit no news. Nobody's, they ain't gonna really care. They don't really care about what's going on in our sector. So
No.
exactly, unless somebody gets hurt, something happens to somebody, it won't hit any type of media because they definitely don't care about that. And the stuff that they're doing, it's nothing is putting anybody in a positive light, so I don't think they want that to hit the news.
Well, sis, let me ask you this. This is important. Just want to shift gears for a second.
Absolutely.
What's your opinion on this video war that we alluded to the other night that's going on right now between people?
Man.
You know who's in the eye of the storm, but there's also people on the periphery of it too that's swirling around in the orbit
Yeah,
of
that's
it
what I was
as
talking about,
well.
like that one person, and
Yeah.
then that got doxxed again yesterday, and then now they're talking about some other. They're pulling other people in because I guess this morning, was it this morning? Somebody there was another one of those 11-hour conversations.
All right. Marathon.
I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
Oh man,
Do y'all
I don't have that
sleep?
kind of time.
Do y'all sleep? Is my question.
Uh, right. I don't know. Now I will say eventually I'm gonna go back and finish that video that you asked me to look at. I'm gonna eventually go back and finish that though, but it might take me a few days.
Yeah, but that wasn't a drama. I mean, there was drama, but the drama was around the subject matter. It wasn't around
Oh,
people. You know what I mean? On that one.
right.
But
Yeah.
no, the
True.
one I heard the one this morning, it was another one of those. And here's the kicker. At the beginning of the video, the person says, I don't understand how people get on here and talk about other people for hours and hours. Who has that kind of time? And then you do one. What the hell? I'm like, I'm telling you, when I came on this morning, because usually in the morning I come in and look at random structure because I need to look at random structure because that's funny. And when I came on, I'm telling you, they were just finishing up this video like around 8 o'clock West Coast time. So, and it said 11 hours. That means you started it at 11 o'clock last night, East Coast time, and you finished at 11 o'clock this morning, East Coast
Oh,
time.
that's crazy.
You know they weren't in California doing this madness.
Oh no, absolutely not. Wow. I mean,
But
I wouldn't
it was
begrudge him.
the usual suspects. It was the usual
Oh,
suspects.
right. Well, I mean, I don't begrudge them to having a good time, but I would hope that they would be making some sort of progress. And I would think if you're going to be on YouTube that long in the live stream, and I haven't seen it, but I hope they're doing things that's solution based.
I kind of skipped through it. I mean, and some of the stuff, I mean,
Well, I mean,
Like,
it should be solution based and not just a lot of BS, though. You know,
yeah, but then
you know.
there was a lot of name calling on the panels to some of the people on the panel, and that part I just didn't get. I just think I don't
Right.
get that. I don't get this. I don't get adults getting on YouTube and disrespecting each other like that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and
I'm
then
with you.
there was one person who got up there who was trying to give peace, and then she got cussed out. I'm like, what? Better
Yeah,
person
like,
than me. But
yeah, yeah. Uh, up the unicorn says they criticize people for traits they have themselves. I agree because I'm usually just listening. I don't show up in their chats, but I am in the
no,
clouds though.
well, I'm not going to be in. I'm not going to. If the chat is an 11-hour chat, rest assured, I'm not actually in the chat. I'm going to come
Right.
after. I'm going to come look at it afterwards and skip through it to see if you actually had anything productive to say. You know, but
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I agree.
you know, I mean, to me, it's just the same old stuff over and over and over again. And I just want, I just would hope, that if we're all truly content creators, that we get about the business of creating content, like we're doing, you know,
Agree.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, you should be making some sort of progress or some sort of contribution that could aid the dire circumstances of some of our people. Even if it's just on YouTube, if you're going to be on that long, it should be something that could, some sort of proposal to remedy something. It shouldn't be just that, yeah, just a free for all, cussing someone out back and forth, arguing silly points of contention, just time wasting things. Yeah, I agree. That's so counterproductive that it just, um, I can't wrap my brain around why they would want to do that. And they have a platform that they could do some good. They can impact some people somewhere. You know what I mean? Because it goes out everywhere, as we know, and they could, help somebody. I mean, yeah, that's it. That's why I don't take them very seriously. I can't. That's why I really don't even want to have discussions with them
I
because
mean, because at this point, the only thing that anybody seems to be able to agree upon is that we have we have a toxic male part of YouTube and a toxic female part of YouTube, where the men are talking bad about the women and the women
right.
are talking. Okay. And we all agree that those two sectors need to stop. That's the only thing that any
Yes,
of us can come into agreement about. But
exactly,
that's the only thing.
exactly.
But
But
to the other point, like the Doxton thing, I'm like, it's like, is that gonna stop? Because it just keeps going on. It
yeah,
just keeps going on.
yeah. Well, it's like right now the people who are in the eye of the storm are going back and forth, and the one is calling the other a liar, and the other one saying that they didn't do what they being accused of, and so
Yeah, but
and
then
but
there's
the
other doxing situations that are swirling around that one too. That's what I'm
yes,
talking about. There's
yes,
other
it is
ones that
there.
are also connected to that are other people that it's not
Yes,
that one situation with the doxing. There's also other doxing situations that are going on at the
right,
same
right,
dang
right, and
time. That's
and
why.
that was the inference that I got when I listened to the person who actually made the initial videos and started to specifically point out some things. And all of a sudden, all these other folks who I know who they are, but I don't listen to them. I'm like, good Lord, they're involved in that too? I'm like, come on, man. I mean, so obviously, the way it appears to be, if we were to just um, believe what's going on at this point in time, without our own investigation, uh, it seemed like there were teams of people doing it in a sense. You know what I mean? That's the impression that I'm getting. I mean, it was, somebody would do someone a favor, and next thing you know, you had doxing teams going on. You're like investigators,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, but
And
I'm
so I'm
like,
like, what?
I was thinking it was just that one situation that
So did I.
that a lot of us are familiar with, but there's
Right.
other ones going on on the perimeter.
I'm like, wow.
You know,
Like,
there are perimeter doxing situations going on with other people who also were out there doing this doxing. That's the thing. It wasn't
right,
just that one person. There's some other people
right,
that are not even related to that particular situation, that whose name never even came up in that situation,
right, right.
that are out there
Yeah,
doxing too. Yeah.
man.
And then and now the people that they were doxing are starting to dox them back now.
Yes, I get that
That's what's
impression.
going on.
Yes.
But
Like,
that's why I'm like, it's getting crazy now.
see, this to me, this thing is supposed to be fun on this YouTube, but they're really taking the fun. They're kicking the fun out this thing to me. You know
Well,
what I mean? I was thinking,
I think what it is that people start lying. People get
right,
in their feelings. People start remembering that this is just YouTube. That you don't really know these people. you you know you don't really know these people. So why would you ride or die for any daggone body that's on the
I don't
internet?
know.
And why would you be cursing out anybody else on the internet, or or going into their business, finding out everything about their family, and putting their
Right.
information out there so they can then in turn do the same thing to you because you did it to them first. That's
And which
like
is you think that's why they shouldn't want to do it, you know? Right. I mean, they get it done to them. Why would they? But maybe they thought they would never be found out. Initial stages, they thought that
and
they would be.
I mean, I understand the part about bringing everything up to the surface so everybody knows about it, so everyone's aware, so that it doesn't happen to anybody else, but if somebody is searching that hard to get your information, if they're that inventive, they can find out information on most of us who aren't hiding from the law, but what's the point? Why would you bring people, other people into a situation, a YouTube situation? It's not even real life situation. It's not, I mean, unless YouTube is keeping all of your bills on, but some of the people who are doing the stuff, they're monetized channels. But then
Yeah.
they're going after some channels that are monetized. So it just gets dumb.
I agree. It's really a shame too. I can only imagine the other sectors that are also engaging into this thing, because I've heard all these. It's YouTube wide. This doxing thing.
Yeah,
So
and then
it
and
just
then and
moved
then,
over here in this
and
section.
also some of the stuff, to the point that Matt was making, some of the beef is not even real beef. They just make it up just to give views. It's not real. Some of it's not real. I'm not saying all of it, because some of it is really real, but then some of it is pretend, so that they can get people to look at their channels. Look at me, look at me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I listen to very few channels on a regular basis.
I mean,
Myself,
I'm subscribed to over 1,200 channels. Okay.
okay.
I look at about a couple hundred of those.
Yeah, I figured you couldn't get around all of them.
Yeah,
I
look at about a couple hundred of the 1,200. But then again, I also, I look through my subscriptions. all 1,200 of those are not putting out videos on a regular basis, so there's nothing to look at anyway.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
so people have no content.
you know,
I mean,
or
that was me.
their only content is live streams. And if they're only and on the live stream, so then I'll go and check out the live stream. I'll look at it for maybe 15 minutes. If it's a really good one where it's a panel and stuff, and they're talking about something interesting, then I'll stay around for about an hour and actually look at part. But when they have those silent live streams, if I wasn't in the live stream, I'm probably not going to look at it.
Oh no.
I'm just being honest.
Not at all. No, I've seen those too. I've seen where no one's there, but it's a teddy bear in front of the camera. I thought that was rather funny. Seeing that.
Those are primarily like growth streams to get hours, etc. And I totally get where they're coming from. So if I'm around when they have one of those silent streams, yeah, I'll come through for 15 minutes, but I'm not going to come back and look at it later on.
Right.
Yeah. If I missed it, I missed it. You know, where I'll go, you know, where people are having regular live streams, I'll go drop into some of those after the fact to see what they were talking about.
Yeah, I listen to very, very few, honestly. I'm aware of the other more popular ones that have a lot to say. You know, that really some of the loudest voices in the Black sector of YouTube. But you know, I get to a point where I've heard some of their rhetoric, I guess. You know, I'm like, okay, I know what they're talking about, and I'm not interested in it.
No, yeah, exactly.
On. You know, I won't subscribe, or I won't even make a comment in the comment section. I'll just continue on. But however, there's people from Sacramento up here that I will go to on a regular basis. O'Shea, even though I don't agree with everything, I know he's part of the manosphere. O'Shea, and then there's Dinus Demir, and then the sister Angel. She's from Sacramento too.
Yeah.
The one that streams Carbonation. Yeah, she's up here too. So I will say hi to them, but you know, on a regular basis. But and I don't necessarily have to agree with them. I just know they're from SAC. So
yeah,
say, hey, what's up?
You know. I don't agree with everybody with some of the things that I'll support people, but I don't necessarily agree with everything that they have on their channel. So
yeah,
it is what it is. You know, I mean, and that was, and I'm sure the people that support me don't agree with everything that's on my channel. That's okay. I'm like, that's okay. That's why it's my channel.
Well, I'm sure the direction that I'm in, I'm going to have very, very few subscribers. A lot of people don't want to.
I wouldn't say that. You never know.
Well, I mean, by the very nature of it, I mean, I understand the reasons of which I'm saying it, and by nature, it probably is not going to be one of the more popular ones. But I'm not on here for that, I guess, in terms of
I know
what I'm saying. Yeah, I realize it's something that is not spoken every day. So, but and I probably, in fact, see, that's why it took me so long, because I knew in 2007, I said, well, you know, I'm just going to be in the comment section. It took me all this time to start, and only when I started meeting you all in the last several months that I started. For all this time, it's 12 years. I didn't even, you know, I didn't drop not one video or anything. I know, you know, so because I understood, I said, well, let me just go ahead and, you know, throw my 2 cents in, and then when I met you all in Deacon's live, I said, man, let me throw a little something out there. I won't. I was trying to get too deep, you know. Let me, you know, just get some conversation started, and but it gets to the point where I think it's important to, obviously, you know, we understand, put Africa in the primary here in terms of importance. So at this particular point, I know there's other people that are making content that are in Crimus Terraeus, but they're working on recruitment. They're focused on recruiting people. So they'll put an event on YouTube. You know, they'll post that. They'll post the orientation, and I could do that, but I'm basically posting my political opinion and trying to draw people in so they can really study, read themselves.
Exactly.
I want people to get to the point to where, all right, Terry, you say that, let me check you out, man. You know, let me go and look over here, and let me see that if I know what you're talking about, you know, that kind of thing, because uh, uh, it's just an imperative at this point. You know, I just think no more time needs to be wasted. So I don't know if that's going to garner a lot of people, sis. I'm not going to. If it doesn't, I'm not going to squawk about it. But I'd say, yeah, let's go ahead and step out, man. You know,
Well,
I'm
like
not a scary guy
one of the
anyway.
things
So
I was talking about earlier, like in the chat, is that, you know, the funny thing about the United States, and it's probably because is is that the United States is the only one of the European colonies, so to speak, that no longer really has any is no longer actually beholden to Europe. And now it's more like they're dependent on us. I'm like, but at the same time, you have the entire continent of Africa that was also colonized. You have, you know, um, India that still have, even though Britain's not there, they still have an impact on what's going on in India. Um,
oh yeah,
then
yes, yeah.
and then you have African nations that are supposedly, you know, like I said, supposedly free, but yet your first language is French
Right.
instead of,
Mm.
you know, one of the dialects which we know you still know,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
instead of an
Yes,
African dialect.
yes, exactly, absolutely. Well, you know, that's some of the far-reaching effects of the impact of the what they've done, obviously, in that sense. That's part of the French community, those particular nations, and I'm sure also to a degree, uh, uh, crossing the borders, the countries bordering those 14, I'm sure are also affected as well, because those particular borders are more fluid than what we think. They're not as rigid
I know.
uh,
I know that's
as
the
we
thing.
see them. Yeah.
It's not
So
like the border between countries here. Look, you know, like we've got defined borders and they're defined borders in Europe, but there's not really defined borders. So even though they've given them defined
well,
borders, they're not really defined.
one of the main things that the consequences of the foreign interference was what's called, it's a concept called irredentism. I don't know if you've heard of it. That really tells you, it's a word that describes the border disputes that happen that have been a consequence of that. And so that's what makes it fluid, because people say, no, this is our, you know, you might have certain countries that like bordered, like for instance, I think Ghana and Sierra Leone are bordered. And just for instance, I think one, I want to say is dealing with, no, I think that's dealing with British. Um, a country that may be French on one hand, French control, but then there might be bordered on a country that's within the British Commonwealth,
Mm-hmm.
and therein lies your irredentist conflict, which is why they continue, and that's throughout Africa. A lot of times you have skirmishes because they're claiming they're trying to be. It's ridiculous, but they're trying to. Some of these countries actually try to be expansionists. They're landlocked. Can you believe that? You
It,
know, so
they're trying to push their borders out.
right, isn't that ridiculous? Yeah, these landlocked. So that goes on a lot too. Irredentism is a plague on Africa as well, and it's things that they don't report. They don't report that a lot, obviously, but
Yeah.
I've seen primary uh, um, primary references that mention that.
Are you there, Terry? Did you go out?
Yeah. No. Yeah, I was finished. I was
Okay.
just finished. I was just saying. Yeah, I've seen primary information on it.
But what I was going to say is that really that all of the stuff that's going on in Africa, to me, and them not really having, even though they're there, they're in the countries, but because their identity is Europeanized, so to speak, that also has an effect on those of us who are here, in the diaspora, and our being able to connect,
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
because I mean, I guess, like when you think about it, it's like, okay, this person's in Africa. Okay, but I'm listening to this black person speaking French like they're from France. And it's so confusing.
Right.
It's confusing.
Yes.
It is confusing. But then you have to think about that that's the result of colonialism. I mean, it just
Of
had
course it.
it was just a different effect in on the continent because on the continent we're the majority. They couldn't just enslave everybody, so they had to do it a different way on the continent to get to the resources that were there. Here
Absolutely.
we were the minority, and we were brought here to help build the resources.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's all interconnected, though. It really is.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It all is because
Yeah.
the beginning of slavery here was also the beginning of the of Africa truly being colonized. It just took a little
Well,
longer for
you're
it.
not. Well, you're not far off. You're certainly not far off, though.
I
With
mean, it
that.
didn't happen right at the same time because obviously slavery started here before that. But by the next
Right.
century, like by the next century, when we were going through the Civil War and we were fighting, the North and South were fighting about it. That's when even though the European countries frowned on the slavery, so to speak, they didn't frown on, dominating another country.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
They just didn't want.
Definitely.
They just don't want it, but they just didn't want it to be called slavery. So you're just made subjects of the royal
Right.
kingdom,
Absolutely.
but it's still slavery.
Yeah. Yeah. And you call those countries the Big Six, Western European countries, the Big Six. You're talking about Spain, Belgium, Germany, France, Italy, Portugal, Great Britain. Mainly those, of course, before 20th century, really after World War II,
Yeah,
United
because
States. United States had a prominent. They gained a prominent foothold after World War II, though.
but I'm glad you're making the distinction that it's Great Britain and not the entire United Kingdom, because Ireland and Scotland don't have nothing to do with this.
Absolutely.
They have
No.
nothing to do with this. They didn't
No.
even want to be involved in the Brexit.
Right. Ireland has been colonized some 800 plus years now by Great Britain. So they're definitely. I work with Irish, some Irish though, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. That's the whole reason why there's a North and South Ireland. That's the whole reason, because of Great Britain.
And what you'll find is, and you'll find wherever they've had these European countries, and to a great extent, Great Britain has had their hand in foreign countries. They've always managed to look closely to carve up the countries into sections, pretty much.
Yeah.
Normally they separate. They separate the actual tribes themselves, and normally it cut specifically right down the middle of certain tribes to put them on different sides in terms of inside the national, so-called national, and really they were just frontiers. But they had
that they wanted that animosity. They did not. They did that very strategically, as we're thinking about. See, we think that they haphazardly carved out the nations, but they had a reason why they did it the way they did it.
Right. You'll find normally each country normally has a major separation in like normally 4 sections, and then within that 4 sections they're broken up again even smaller. Now that's called balkanization. That definitely makes an area fundamentally weak, because not only do you assign different areas a certain level of autonomy that tends to pull away from a national unity. See, what they had to prevent a national movement to actually remove the foreigners, remove the Europeans, which is why it took them so long. I mean, they finally did it, but it took them so long because they were so broken up. The formations, obviously, we were talking about this before. The formations before, you'll see in these, particularly all of these countries, really, were, well, number one, you didn't have 54 or 55 countries.
Well, but that's the thing is this that was what I was going to bring up is that you notice that everything outside of Europe, and I'm not going to even put the United States in there, but prior to it becoming the United States, that all the other peoples of the earth remained in tribal formations, even though they have urban societies, and Europe is the only one who after the feudal, after feudalism, they stopped having any types of tribal stuff there, and then they forced their way onto everybody else.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, way to conform, which is what one of the other features was the stratification inside of Africa, where at one point, you had semi-feudal and you had communal social economic patterns that were organic, and then when they came in and started separating, because they had to organize labor, so you had a national bureaucracy, a colonial administration, a bureaucracy that was really repatriates from the actual mother country, doing crude colonialism now, before they actually went around and placed puppet governments in place. And this was the way they did business for a long, long time. It changed everything. It definitely changed everything because it was alien to Africa. And it really still is, it's been there quite a while. But it was certainly everything had to be wheeled in the line to actually serve the mother countries, those particular 6 that we just mentioned, even down to the mining, the extraction of precious metals and materials, the actual transportation, roads, and the railroads going right to the harbors, direct to the harbors. Everything was built. The infrastructure was built, a colonial infrastructure, just to serve Europe for a long time. Which it just, the corollary was the impoverishment of Africa, but at the same time, a very, very thin layer of what's called a bourgeoisie, so to speak. It was it was people who were trained obviously by that particular country to run the colony more efficiently for them. So they were the intelligentsia, if you will. They were people
Like
who,
they're aristocratic part of
yeah, these are
the higher, yeah,
right. When they started talking about
the elite.
independence, yeah, when they started talking about independence, they actually thought they were the natural inheritors of the country after the colonialist was going to leave. But that's not what happened in every country, obviously. The masses spoke, and they had, like in Nkrumah, when he became president of Ghana, that was a perfect example where the masses chose him over these particular elites that were already. And he was bought in, though, by the elites, but he broke off with them. And we can get into that some other time. But it just goes to show you that they did so much damage, so much interior damage as well. They're still trying to recover now, even today, from that.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
yeah,
Man. That's very true.
so you're right. You're right. You're correct, sis. Just wanted to.
And Matt's talking about most precious precious stones are from Africa. That's true.
Yeah, even the educational system was set up to actually serve those particular countries. So they had to de-Africanize the African to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why you have this one of the factors of the difficulties that you have in Africa, because each country that was inside of Africa had a particularized kind of colonialism, but their vagrancy or what their style was. It wasn't obviously it wasn't all uniform. I think all of it was harmful, but I think if you had to grade it, I would think probably the Belgians, because between 1885 and 1960, they probably murdered about, all of them did, but I think the conservative number is 14 million Congolese between that particular time, because they were extracting rubber for years, and they had to get a quota. If they didn't, they would get their ears cut off, the extremities like the fingers, the hands, forearms.
Crazy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. They would get whipped. Yeah, they would get whipped with. I guess they would take a hide of a dead elephant and fashion it to a whip.
So they were treating them the same way as they were treating us here.
Yes. So it was just another
form of slavery, but
yes, they call it something
under the guise of work.
Right. In fact, it was specifically fashioned to fool the public. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. King Leopold, he was probably the worst one. I guess if you had to. I mean, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have the. I don't think I have the authority to, I guess, grade. But we know that his forces, they killed the most number of Africans, like 14 million. And that's probably the conservative number. They wiped out villages. They specifically wiped out. If you didn't cooperate, they would just wipe you. Just go and kill all the men, women, and put them in the work.
When you think about it, it just appears that for a very, very long time, way before we got to the 20th century, it has been the agenda of certain part of the population to reduce the population of people of African descent.
Yeah, depopulation. That's exactly what it did. Slavery did too. That was an impact to it. It depopulated principally between the ages of 16 to 45. That was the demographic most hit by the chattel slave period. Mm-hmm. Even the Islamic Arab impact. I think, though, for me, historically, the most decisive impact, even more so, was the colonial period, though, because it was degrees of harm that was done. Some of the things we're talking about here.
But what I'm saying is that it's been that was the intent from the very beginning. Once they started enslaving our ancestors and going into Africa and seeing what was there, that was their agenda.
Right.
So that they could take over that area.
Right.
You know.
So so you
but it's not that easy because there's too many of us.
Obviously, they can't get this all. But when you have someone else controlling every part of your life, your education, your diet, your total comportment, what you're told to do for a very long period of time, at that point you have a whole generation that's trained like that, and so they become de-Africanized. They become French. They become British, in a sense, in terms of psychological. They become Spanish, that kind of thing.
I know, and that's the thing is that they've done the same thing to those on the continent that they did to us. They have stolen their culture.
Right.
They just did it in a more subtle manner.
Right. But as you know, as I think we all know, for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. Anti-colonial movement, I mean, really, they started kicking some serious butt and taking some serious European names, though. Right. So, they had to come back in a way to kind of come back to the back door and attach marionette strings to a lot of the puppet governments, which, but the one thing they're never going to tolerate, in my opinion, they're never going to tolerate Europeans in front of them ruling them on their land anymore. That direct colonialism is never going to work anymore. So but they did not go the full gamut. The next step was continental unity, and they stopped right at that point. They stopped at a national. They continued those particular political borders, which actually were really schismatic, and still are.
I know the issue with. Let me just back up. The only country that I can see would have the most interest in there not being a unification would be Egypt, because it has been so Arabized. and it's and it's not so much African anymore.
Right.
Right. But then you still have the tribal differences, even that are an issue, because even though they've taken certain parts of their culture from them and made them more colonial, they still retain certain parts of their tribalism.
Yeah. Now, again, I think a lot of times people don't understand that there's a difference between the tribes and tribalism. Actually, tribalism itself was a invention of colonialism as well. You've always had tribes in Africa, but what happened in tribalism, they actually started doing things like making chiefs paid agents of the colonial power. To actually, they had to control the actual chiefs so they control the people. They wanted somebody, so they would actually hire chiefs as other chiefs, as they would invent a chieftaincy called the stool chieftaincy. When you had, I'm sorry, I take it back. They were called warrant chiefs. Mm-hmm. They would actually try to unseat the person who was a hereditary chieftain on the stool, but many of them were paid agents, so with those policies actually will work against national unity. So these schisms, these divisions that they had to continue to keep drawing, so to speak, from not only physically in terms of the borders, but actually psychologically as well. And it actually worked because they had things that the Europeans had things that, obviously these Africans never seen before, and it tended to buy them off. So that kind of started that particular thing about tribalism. So a lot of people don't understand that it's not organic and natural to Africa, but it actually is an invention of the Europeans. it's actually alien to Africa. So
But they did have.
people think it's one and the
Okay.
same, and it isn't.
There were tribes, so maybe
Yes,
I was
two
using
different
the wrong
things.
word. I was
Right.
using the wrong word.
Two different things. Yeah, it's two different things. See, a lot of people think it's one and the same. Since that's the problem, they think, and I have to make. I just want to make that. I don't think you were trying to do that, but I always make that distinction because sometimes we tend to fall in that and not understand where it actually comes from.
If they don't mean the same thing, then I was using the wrong word. I meant
no, that's all right.
Back to being I mean, even though you may, like I said, I'll give Nigeria as an example. You've got two different huge tribes that are part of the culture within there, and they may have some European attributes, but they still maintain that separatism within whichever tribe they are a member of.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff I meant.
Right. Because at one time, but in pre-colonial Africa, you really have to look at the way these particular socioeconomic structures were set up. It was set up to be advantageous toward the African people, regardless of in terms of what tribe you identified from, because they understood that they inhabited a greater amount of territory, geographical territory. And their policies and their economic system, which was a communal, it was communal. It was sort of semi-feudal, but communal, that the land and resources were shared. All of them had that feature or a variation of that feature at the same time. So it tells you there was some harmony. There was some inter-tribal harmony going on, because we see the same pattern in every tribe. Whatever you had a communalism in every tribe, so that tells you something. If that hallmark, that communalism was really in terms of not only more democratic on one hand, but people were more than just a means to an end. You understand? So that meant that
it reduced the level of poverty.
Yeah, poverty. Yeah, and antagonism. So that's telling me, well, there's no way they could be as warlike as we've been taught, we've been told, because we keep seeing that same feature in all of them. We see this communal setup. You understand? So I know that's a lie in terms of what we've been told.
I mean, that's what they would put in the movies, and that's what we were told about Africa, but you don't know it. But now that we have more access to it, even if we all aren't on the continent, we're in communication with people on the continent, so we're finding out that what we thought was their history is not their history. As far as how they were prior to colonialism.
Agreed.
They weren't these wild creatures that were swinging from trees like you to think from Tarzan.
Right. I mean, we know that at any point in history, conflict is based on a lack of what is normally needed for survival. So, since that wasn't the case in pre-colonial Africa, how could they be so warlike and so criminal? It doesn't. It's something that's illogical when you look at it very, very closely, and that there's in fact, there's a book called Pre-Colonial Africa by Sheikh Anta Diop that I would recommend anybody who want to know what was going on in Africa before the interference of the European should pick that book up. The book is very, very detailed, but it's very enlightening in terms of how things were said. It's very, very sophisticated, by the way. Very, very sophisticated in terms of some of these nations were constitutional monarchies, and We're talking about the 15th, 16th centuries. So, I mean, how can somebody who's that warlike have that kind of how can it be so organized? You know what I'm saying? So, no, you can't tell me or someone who knows the difference, between civilization and not. And some of these things were even contemporaneous with dynastic Europe. I mean, I'm sorry, Egypt as well. Yeah. So the lies is never ending. But you can smash all that. You know what I mean? We have the information that was brought back by science. The stuff was put back together and presented. And so now it's documented, written form. Anybody can read it. Anybody can study it.
Yep.
So I'm trying not to get too far into that, sis. You kind of let me. I'm going into other.
I know we're towards the end of our chat. No, and I'm listening. I'm just looking. I'm looking in the chat to see if I missed anybody. Nesta the Wet. Right. Hi.
I kind of want to get into that.
Yeah. No, but it's just so funny whenever anything happens, how you can just look at that and say a lot of these things are because of all of this stuff that has to do with us not knowing who we are as a people. I mean, and being able to, it's like, even though there's some people that go through the thing of, I'm not from Africa, I wasn't born there or anything. It's like, but most of us are trying to find some connection to Africa because we know that our ancestors came from there. We know that,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're trying to find a connection. But again, it's like when you see things like these lost children who got apparently arrested down in Panama, and they were trying to have they looked like they were trying to have it like some type of African tribe and stuff with the thing. It's like, but they don't really know the real history of what went on in Africa. They were just mimicking what they think it was. Or, you know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of that going on. A lot of nonsense. Yes. I think it's anything to try to thwart our impending liberation. We all know they like it the way it's been for a long period of time. They don't want to change. They want blacks from the bottom. They want blacks feeling uncomfortable in the workplace. They want us to last higher. They want us to least paid in terms of underemployment and salary. They want that. So whether anybody likes it or not, they're comfortable with that. So they don't want to see. Well, if they think they're mad now, I just want everybody, hopefully we living to see this change, this climactic change that will be taking place in Africa in the future. They're going to really be upset when they see Africa powerful, organized, developed, and in a way that's going to be set toward perpetuity. I want to see how they're going to act in. If they don't like what's going on now, just we're not there, then their heads are really going to explode.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, they haven't seen anything yet. That's nothing. They may not like a rich black here or black in a mansion there. Okay, but that's nothing. That's preliminary. That's not even. That's the tip of the tongue. It ain't nothing. It's not going to. But when 12 million square miles.
And that's the thing is that when because I look at the different people who have channels that are showing you different parts of the continent. I mean, everywhere you look, there are parts of the continent that are in poverty, just like there are parts of every country that have poverty, even though, we all know that shouldn't be the case. But for the most part, I mean, when you're talking about the landscape and the people, everything is just so beautiful over there.
Yes.
So of course somebody wants to steal everything from over there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
For
kind of like
centuries.
in your head, you like I said, we wish that that the whole continent of Africa was like the country, the mythical country Wakanda, and had hidden all of their resources.
Right.
You know,
Definitely been something. Yeah.
but I mean, but the
Well,
thing is that I think that they have to come to the point of being tired of somebody else being in charge of their country,
right.
and these other people who are coming in there, um, and now they're claiming that it's their country, because they were born there too.
Right. Well, in my, if I can just interject my view on that, I think that if they understood, well, first of all, when you have when you have people who are disciplined and serious uh, like that, you're going to have white flight, number one. But let's just say they want to stay, because once they see they that particular thing in terms of them being first class in a nation or a continent that's majority African,
Uh-huh.
because they have to have these particular conditions that we're describing in order to do it. The other way is when you have African come truly to within their sovereignty, they're probably going to leave. However, I would just say, if it were me talking to them, as long as you understand the effort that Africans has to make for themselves, you can stay as guests. But if you think you're going to stay here in terms of conquerors, then we'll go ahead and show you a rowboat and push you off into the water so you can go home. Because uh, in the Africa that I envision, that in terms of people in my ilk, we envision no whites being in control of nothing. However, we're not saying that you couldn't come there or live as guests, but you can't be there as conquerors or someone who wants to be superior. In fact, it's incompatible with continental unity to have some sort of minority regime or some sort of, in which they still have down. It's a
Yep.
city down there in South Africa, which we'll talk about that. But uh, none of that can be tolerated. No more apartheid, no more Rhodesias, no more colonial, government administrative extensions. No, no, you can't have none of that. So from Cape to Cairo, the length and breadth of Africa, we'd have to control it. Now, can people stay at the Berbers and the Arabs? Sure, but you're gonna stay as guests, though. You understand? And you can't, as long as there's no undermining of the efforts we have to make to build Africa. Then yeah. See, the difference is we're not racist. That's the thing about it. However, what also I would say, if I were the one, the spokesman, is that we could not tolerate any kind of racist individuals, organizations, or groupings. So we can't have any more no neo Nazis, no
Right.
Zionist type uh, white supremacist groups. No, that's
Mhm.
illegal. That would be totally illegal, and you're either going to be thrown in prison, or you're going to be deported off to wherever your country of origin is. That cannot be tolerated in the new Africa we're talking about. So I would say that to those people, because they're only there because of this situation of chaos in and of itself. All of it can only exist in the teeth of these problems that exist in Africa. People, I hope they can understand that. When Africa gets stable, they're not going to want to stay there. You're
Exactly.
going to see white flight. Normally, you do that. So either way it go, we have to rule ourselves, and to do that, you have to take a stand against certain things that have allowed them to hold sway when they're minority. See, yeah, even when they're a minority, they get to have privileges. So they turn democracy on its head in places that are not numerous. But then where where they are majority, they make sure that those people who are of color, the minorities, are constantly at the bottom. So everywhere they go, they're on top.
Yep.
The pattern is, see. So, but over there, they turn democracy on its head. There's no majority rule. That's ridiculous. It's over here though, in this particular country. But now, so it's just because they're white. That's the difference. So they constantly want to rule and control all the resources, and so that's the next frontier, a struggle for us here.
Yeah,
for them.
I mean, we all know about the blood diamond,
Right.
and about Sun City,
right.
and other atrocities on the continent.
Right. Right. See. So I mean, that would definitely put us in a level of power brokers on this earth, and I think that's where we should be. I think we should be able to leverage our authority on world affairs. And the way we do that is secure the continent and organize it. So, I mean, here again, I think fate is throwing out another opportunity to Africans worldwide, people who identify themselves worldwide, because, of course, it is not a utopia. It's not, obviously we're all imperfect beings, but these particular problems that has happened in the corollary of it can be solved. Poverty, racism, white supremacy. These things become so weak that they begin to be negligible in our lives.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not saying that I'm not legislating anybody's psychology. I know they're gonna hate and all that. That's fine, but I don't want them to have the wherewithal and the power, as I've said, to carry it out. See, that's the thing. They can see. Kwame Ture said, if a racist wants to hang him, that's his problem. If he tries to physically hang Kwame, that's my problem. I'm gonna deal with it. Mm-hmm. So you understand what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to. I don't want them to love me. They can, but I don't want them to have the power to act on it. And the only way, only way you can do that is become powerful yourselves, and not to conquer, as I said before, but to liberate. So if people can't understand that, they can't negotiate those concepts, then they don't get it. You can be powerful without being hateful. I don't want to be like them, most of them. But at the same time, I think we can be shrewd about our position. We can't continue to be on the bottom, and we weren't meant to be put there. So I think that real briefly, I think here we've exhausted all avenues to try to level the playing field. I think I'm afraid blacks are in a fixed position over here, and I think all you're going to see is certain blacks who are going to be the pick to continue the program of white supremacy, and until we link up with Africa and become strong everywhere, this will not stop. They want to continue this. I am convinced they want to have this power to the end of time. Each racist generation takes its assignment. They go right to it and perpetuate. Now to the tune of 400 plus years. I just don't know how much more needs to happen for people to wake up and understand where our responsibilities lie.
Some folks don't want us here, and what they don't understand is like we didn't ask to be here. We didn't ask to be here.
Not at all. So I mean, something decisive has to happen. We can't continue to go along this particular course, So I think linking up with the mother continent and those who are like-minded, the same ilk, and as I said before, the most progressive, the most revolutionary groups are in the mass organized political parties, which are not part of the government
Mm-hmm.
right now. That's the cadres. That's where they are. They're not all of them. I mean, you have some elements like the EFF in South Africa. You know what I mean? Some of them, they're revolutionary,
But
but
as long as, I mean, as long as it's like the things that we're talking about are things that are being discussed on the actual continent by people who
yes,
it truly impacts. Because we can be talking
absolutely.
about it all day and be coming up with things, ways for it to happen, but we're not physically there, at least not right now. And even,
No,
you know what I'm saying?
right. But let me just say real fast, we're in a unique position because of our proximity to the resources here, the skills that we acquire.
Hmm.
There's things that we can do to aid that process from here, though. Believe it or not,
That's very,
things
very.
that we, yeah, and it can happen in tandem with whatever you're pursuing on your own. Whether it's a career, whatever it is, a business. It's we can chew gum and walk here
Oh
at
yeah,
the
that's
same time in terms
definite.
of this thing. So
Definite. And yes, what
yeah,
you're saying, Matt, is absolutely right. It's like we on this side of the Atlantic, I'm gonna just say, for whatever reason, and it's probably because of us being enslaved here and all the other minority groups that are here, um, except for Native Americans, came here of their own free will. Um, but everyone
yes,
else
that's it.
seems to know how to come together, you know, and pool their monies to move forward. But because I think of some people still having that slave mentality, and I hate to say it that way, but um, we're not able to do that. I mean, in on a large scale. It happens on a small scale within the black community, but it happens on a large scale within the Asian community, within the Latino community. They come
Right.
together so that they all become homeowners, so people own businesses, and we don't do that. There was a time when we did, but we don't do it anymore.
Right.
you know
Absolutely.
and it's like we've just given up.
And of course, integration has been impactful too. Now we have to go to them for loans that we can't get for businesses. We have to go to their colleges by and large, to racist professors that don't want us in there. You know what I mean? That's kind of thing. So, um, however, I know it can still be done, but that I think here, blacks or Africans here have a unique uh, position where we could do some things specifically for ourselves. Excuse me, man, about to sneeze. We can actually initiate certain things for ourselves to build things within capitalism, obviously, because they don't want to fight it. They certainly don't want to overthrow anyone. So we can actually play the capitalist game to the nth degree. If blacks, I guess, in a tacit sense, want to continue on the course that we're continuing on, the least we can do is play the capitalist game better than them. I mean, it's right there. It's right in front of us. All we have to do is emulate what's been done already. We don't have to break any ground at all. We can do the same things as the industrialists did. They pulled their funds in after essentially after the Civil War, leading up to the beginning of the 20th century. When you had people like you know Henry Ford and Andrew Carnegie and the rest of these folks, that started to build these conglomerate organizations. I mean, if we're going to do it, if we're going to
Hmm.
stay here, or rather, if certain blacks are going to stay here and they want to be within the American scope of of this particular society, then then I think it behooves us, or them anyway, to play this capitalist game right.
That's
If
true.
that's what, if you're gonna do that, if you're not gonna overthrow white supremacy and all that, okay, which should happen. But here we are. Nobody's talking about that. People want to be American. People want to be ADOS. Okay, then let's play the hell out this capitalist game while we're here. Then, if you're gonna do that. So, and again, the blueprint's already there. We don't have to break new ground. It's the you do the same. It's the same uh social economic system that it was in 1874. The difference is the technological advancements that have happened and brought us to where we are now. That's all. So, and I don't think we necessarily have to be people or be like people who have been in the NBA or the NFL to make a lot of money either.
No.
I think we can do that by our own natural intelligence, that our collective intelligence that we've already been blessed with. See, we put those things, constructive use on one hand and solution-based things. Some people are doing those things. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not done at all, but we can do it on a collective basis.
Yeah.
And then I have some other ideas about, I think the Marshall Plan. I'm not going to get in. We can get into that, what I think about the Marshall Plan.
That's a whole conversation by itself.
Yeah, because I think that should have been the demand, not reparations though. But I'm not going to evoke. I don't want to evoke a debate or a argument, any animosity. But I think we need institutions, not a paycheck. You need things that are fully funded and released to our control, so that we can build a society. Even down to a provisional government. I also cover that in some of my commentary. I haven't put that on video yet, but
I was like, I said, I haven't seen that. I was gonna say,
it's coming.
I haven't seen that one.
It's coming. Yeah, well, it's coming. It's coming because I think it would make better sense to let me just say, if you take the Marshall Plan, anybody can look at it. I guess some of it's on Wikipedia. It was a 1948 plan to repair Europe. Western Europe was devastated by the Third Reich, so they had to. Their infrastructure was devastated, so they had to take a plan to actually rebuild all that. Things had to be rebuilt so they can put those countries back on their natural course, where they were before that happened, and they can use an adaptation of that and apply it to us. If they really were sincere, we know they're not, about paying us off or so somehow compensating us for what has happened to our people here in the last 400 years, including slavery, that would be the approach that I would.
Yeah.
That I think I know would be better, because it covers land, housing, covers schools, covers banks, covers corporations. It covers not paying income tax for 244 years for Black people, federal, and exemption from federal and state tax. Yeah, that would have to be part. That would we'd have to get all those points.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, because we're talking about trillions of dollars in terms of labor, number one, and then of course the structure of white supremacy too. That's the values. Yeah, you have to fully fund banks, fully fund all the Black colleges would have to be released to us. Oh yeah, the whole nine, and they had to fully fund everything, banks, whole 9 yards. Okay, tracts of land, about 2 million acres. Oh yeah. See, all that to even build new cities. These kind of things. So, and then of course a provisional government, so that we can have semblance of independence. Oh yeah. Will they do it? Hell no.
That's never going to
but
happen.
but yeah. But
That's,
that would be
that's why we can talk about it, because we know they'll never do it.
right. That would square them with us. At that point, there would be no complaining. I'd be the first one saying, you shouldn't be complaining, man. We got all this stuff now. Leave the white man alone. I'd be the first one to say that. But, you know, but anyway, I digress.
I know, but it's cool. No, it's cool, Terry, but no, I think we've done cool tonight. I mean, we've gone all the way from Nature Boy. and somehow I made it all spin back into the African identity. You see how I did that? I made it roll back into that, because really,
yes, you did. I was trying to avoid it.
Really, that stuff all, well, I mean, because it has I mean, us acting out, a lot of the stuff that's acting out, it is really truly Black people trying to find themselves. True. They're trying to find themselves. So, but my son is down here giving me glaring eyes, so I think it's about time that we're going to end tonight's live. But I will be back.
Can I
go ahead?
Can I before you go? Can I take a couple of seconds? I see Sister Soul Alchemy. What's up, sis? I see you in the chat.
Yeah,
of course, I'm checking out.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Up the Unicorn, of course. She hung with us, Mac. Right on. Okay, just want to acknowledge everybody. Myself, I saw we were just engrossed into this discussion. I really couldn't recognize people myself. I wanted to do that, so I took this time to do it. So I thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I just want to thank you for coming up and just sharing some knowledge and on that subject with everyone tonight, and allowing me to roll that subject, because you knew I had a spin.
Okay. All right. Well, no problem. Nah, anything I can do.
But I would definitely say that I would want to have like a specific, a special, a specific program to talk about the Marshall Plan. But we'll do that. We'll do that after we finish talking about those Khazarian Jews.
Right, and then and let me say. Right now the Urban League has a official Marshall Plan though, so we're not one of the same. They came out with theirs too, so theirs are the official one, but I have my own version, my own
and we can discuss both of them in that on that panel. We can talk about both of them and what the differences between the two.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be there to be any confusion there. What people might know and understand at this point, but
not a problem. But thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, I appreciate it, and thank you everybody for being down in the chat, especially. So thank you for coming through. I saw you sneak in. I did come down and say hi, and I tried to jump in the chat as much as possible to say hi to everybody as they were coming in. So you guys know how my chats go. You know how it goes up here. I can, but I had a purposeful way of, starting out with the Nature Boy stuff, because that's something that's right here on YouTube, and, potentially have some types of impact on those of us who are content creators, and even on the people who subscribe to channels, that are on here. So, I'm really hoping and really praying that, those babies are okay, whatever the situation is with them down in Panama, because it's not going to be that easy for them to get back to the United States, because it's another country. But I thank you guys for getting on here with me tonight and just talking about this. Thank you, Terry, for coming up and giving some perspective on African identity and about the colonization. I always appreciate you sharing that knowledge. And I will be back on, guys, tomorrow. But until then, as always, peace from the West Side, guys. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Good night.
La, la.